Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am Jennifer Helm, the Faithful Stamper and independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up! Today I have for you a tunnel fold card. This one, when folded, measures 4¼ inch square. We're going to talk about some more options later on in the video. And this is just a fun fold video that packs a little surprise when you open up the card. It has a tunnel inside. You can kind of see it better when I hold it from this angle. It's kind of a W fold inside, and actually a lot of times the card will like to stand up because of the tunnel formation on the inside. This is not that complicated to make. It's actually just a few simple score lines and a die cut to form the inside. So come along with me and I'll show you how to make it. The stamps that I'm going to be using today is our Honeybee Home stamp set. This is actually carrying forward. We're about to launch a new catalog May 3rd. It's our big idea book, which lasts for a whole year. So this is current now from our spring mini, but will carry forward into that new catalog. If you do not have a demonstrator that you are currently working with and you'd like a paper copy of the catalog, please feel free to reach out to me and I would be happy to send you one. You can also check things out online. Right now we have a list of last chance products that are retiring, and many of them are discounted if you want to check that out. So now we'll go ahead and get to our tunnel fold card. So to start with, we're going to use a card base. This is 8½ by 4¼ We're going to score the long side at 4¼ so that when we fold it, we get that 4¼ inch square. And this is basic black that I'm using. Since I was using the honeybees, I went with the black and yellow theme. Now for the inside of my card, you need a layer of cardstock that is 3 3/4 by 8. And we just need to do a few simple score lines on this to form the inside of the card. So in case you want to take a quick screenshot or jot this down, we are going to score the long side at 2, 4, and 6. So all you need is a simply scoreboard or a paper trimmer scorer, like this one that we have. And so I'm just going to slide my paper in and do a score line at 2, another at 4, and then my last one at 6. And now I'm all done with my scoreboard or paper trimmer. So the next step is to create the die cut in this inner layer so that I can create the tunnel effect. So I have the largest circle from our Layering Circles die set, and what I'm going to do is just line it up with the middle score line here, the halfway point, and just die cut that circle out of the paper. So I have my cut and emboss machine I'm going to bring over. We have two sizes. This is the Big Boss. I call it our cut and emboss machine. We also have the mini. One thing I love about it is it comes with everything you need to die cut or emboss. And there are foolproof directions on here on each platform to tell you what you need, depending on whether you're die cutting or embossing. So I am just going to follow along. I need plate 1, which is this big thick plate. I need the thin cut because I'm also using a thin die. I need one of the number 3 plates to go on the bottom. Then my paper goes on top of that with my die with the cutting edge down. So smooth side up, cutting edge down. I'm just going to center it top to bottom between those outer score lines. And then to finish off, I just need a second number 3 plate that gets held down on top. Take a quick look to make sure nothing shifted, and then this goes right through my machine, which is a hand crank. And I apologize if I rock the camera a little bit. I always say it's a mini earthquake. You can hear that pop when it comes through. And then when I take apart my sandwich, as I call it, then I have die cut my circle out. I apologize, my lights are acting a little crazy today. So this I'm just going to set to the side. I haven't figured out if there's another project I can use this shape with a score line down the front, but we'll see. And so I have my die cut ready to go. I'm going to do my stamping on this before I do any folding. It's just a little easier. So I have a little bit of grid paper here just for 1 second. I'm using Bumblebee, which is a retiring in color. We have 5 new colors that are coming very soon to our catalog. These in colors stay around for 2 whole years. So the Bumblebee is part of a set that is getting ready to go out, and we're having new ones come in. All right, so I've got my large floral image there, and I'm going to accent with some smaller images. I just didn't want too much white space, so I'm going to leave room over here if I want to write a message. And I like to accent a little bit around my die cut shape. So it is up to you how much you accent or don't accent. Totally your call. And let's see. I think that'll do there. While I have all my stamps and inks out, I'm going to take care of a couple other things. First off, I'm also using Tuxedo Black Memento ink for my bee images. So I'm going to stamp the envelope like so, because we have to dress up our envelopes a little bit. I have the circle that's going to be the inside of my tunnel image, and then a little accent piece as well. So for my little accent, I just picked a circle that fit my sentiment. So it doesn't necessarily have to be such a small one. It's whatever you're using if you're accenting the center. I'm going to, I put my paper, my scrap paper away 1 second too soon. Now, you can, if you want, fold this, your inner piece ahead of time. I'm going to wait just a minute to help me stamp a little bit better before I fold anything. But I know I want an image on one side and one on the other. And for my other image, I'm going to put a bumblebee in here, like that. And then, let's see, for the front of the card, I'm going to put a little sentiment on this strip of paper. And let's see. There we go, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So now my stamping's all done, I think. I always seal up my ink pads because otherwise I stick my elbows in them or something. So now I'll show you how to create the inside of the card. So bring your card base back over and open it up. Now for your inner piece here, I got a little glue smudge or something. I don't know where that came from. You want to fold this so it looks like a W. So the inside where your die cut is points up, and then you fold your wings up to meet that to kind of create the W. I'm not the best at explaining this, I think. You can use a bone folder or just your finger if you want, but your piece is going to look like this, like a W. And I have a little tip for how to position this in the card and be able to close the card without trouble. Sometimes you have to be careful with your placement because you obviously don't want it to be sticking out past the card or anything like that. So you're going to need tear and tape to make sure this doesn't go anywhere. Your tear and tape will go on either end of your inner piece here, but you do not, now I had a block with a straight edge, there it is. You don't want to put your tape inside near your W fold. Whoop, which I almost did. Did you see that? I get to talking sometimes. You want them towards the outside. That will ensure that your card will open the way that you want it to. So what I'm going to do is peel off one end. Really doesn't matter which end, but I typically start with this side. Open up your inner piece and fold it flat. Keep the tape up off the cardstock so it doesn't stick before you're ready, and line up your center score lines. And once they're lined up, you will have a little border around the outside. Just hold this part flat and smooth your hand over and press down that tape. And then go ahead and fold up your little W peel off this backing strip of tape, not paper, tape. And then hold it here with your finger. Take your card front and close it, and then start near the crease line and just slide on over. Give it a good press, and then when you open it up, you've got your tunnel card perfectly in place. Okay? Now just to finish up this, we need to put our focus piece here on the center. Depending on what shape you do, it might be easier to put that down first and then position your inside piece. However, since this piece is smaller, this is the largest of the plain circles from that layering circle set, so it was made to layer together. I can actually go ahead and put that in without really issue. So if you're using a piece of paper that you might have to fool with a little bit, you might want to crease it in the center before you start, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this piece. I just need 2 small pieces of tear and tape. You want one on either side of your image. And then for this one, since it does fit right in, I'm just going to lay it here in my circle and give it a really good press. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold the card shut. I'm going to have to help it a little bit since I did not crease that piece ahead of time. Now I'm going to crease it from that side. And there is my focal piece. To just jazz it up a little bit, I'm going to add those accent pieces. Oh, I did forget one little bit of stamping. I want to add just one little floral image here, just to kind of give those words a little color. Now I'm done. I knew I was missing something. Okay. So I'm going to take some mini dimensionals, and if you're doing any kind of accent, you just have to be careful where you put your dimensionals because you don't want to inadvertently seal your card flat because then you won't have that nice tunnel effect. So what I'm going to do is take 2 small mini dimensionals here and just put them really close to my die cut here. And that way I know they're positioned, so there we go. The backing did not want to give. So my card won't accidentally be sealed shut, and I can position my die cut on top of those dimensionals without worry. And then I'm going to add one more little accent. I have a die cut B that I stamped and colored with my blends a little bit ahead of time. I'm going to do the same thing. Just put my dimensional here, peel off the back, and then put the B on the dimensional. Looks like he's going in to sniff those flowers. All right, so there is the inside of the card, and now we're going to work on the front. So the front of your card can be cardstock. It can be designer series paper, or DSP as we call it. You can use embossed cardstock. So you need a 4-inch square, whatever you decide to decorate the front of your card with. I used, to go with the Honeybee set, the Hive 3D embossing folder. So it just carries on that bee theme. Before I glue this down, I'm going to add some ribbon. So I have our beautiful black and white gingham ribbon. I'm going to cut a length of it just a little bit longer than I need. And I'm going to tack it down with my adhesive on this side. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Stampin' Seal Plus there. And let's see. Tuck my ribbon in behind. Now that this ribbon is on, I'm going to flip it over and put some more adhesive here. Now, I'm going to use a little bit more than I typically would when I am putting on embossed pieces and pieces that have these ribbon edges tucked around. I like to put a little extra adhesive on to make sure it's not going to come off the card, since we're interrupting the flow of the adhesive with the texture. I promise I don't use that much adhesive on a regular basis. All right, so give that a good press. Now, I have to find my sentiment strip. It was trying to hide from me. I'm just going to take this and trim the edge diagonally, just to kind of dress it up a little bit. Grab some dimensionals and put that a little close together. I always want to make sure my sentiment strips or anything that's got a little bit of length is not going to sag in the middle. So you want to space out your dimensionals. I really could have used 3 there instead of 4, but I got a little happy. All right, so I'm going to put this right near the top of my ribbon. And I decided I wanted to put a bow on here as well. So I'm simply going to tie, rearranging the whole desktop here. I'm going to tie a little bow with my ribbon. And once I have it adjusted and I'm happy, I'm going to trim my edges here, angle the edge. And I like to put this right on top of a glue dot. So right off the roll, press it right onto the glue dot and then lift the whole thing up. This I'm going to tack down here at the corner. And then just for a little more accent, I have 2 more bumblebees that I stamped a little earlier and colored with that Daffodil Delight blend. So these are going to go on the card front. So you can decorate your card however you like. And let's see. I'm going to put this bee over here. This little guy coming in from the top. And then I thought I would add just a little bit of bling. So I took that same Dark Daffodil Delight blend and colored my rhinestones. Did you know that you can do that with any of your colored or your plain rhinestones or enamel shapes? You can take your Stampin' Blend and color them so that they're any color you have to match your project. We have a lot of different colors, but sometimes we don't have everyone in the rainbow, so it is kind of fun to be able to create your own with your Stampin' Blends. It will not work with the regular markers. You need the alcohol markers, like our Stampin' Blends, but they do work. Let's see. Try not to get a diagonal line here. There we go. All right, so there is our finished tunnel card. So I have a couple more samples to show you. This next one is another 4 1/4 inch square card. I changed it up and used an embossed panel on the front and stamped inside, tone on tone. Added a little bling and a sentiment with a die cut. And then for this one, I added some panels here on the inside layered with cardstock. Added twine before I glued them down. Now, for this one, I used a punch, and you can use a punch, however, a word of caution. The one thing I didn't like, I like how it looks, the hearts look really cute, however, I could not center it top to bottom like I could with the die cut, because the way the paper goes in the punch, it would only go down so far. So just a word to the wise there, keep that in mind. It didn't really look too bad on this card, so I left it, but it is not quite centered, so just keep that in mind while you're working. And this is not your typical card size. Like I said, it's 4 1/4 inches square when you fold it shut, and I'm an A2 size card girl, which is your regular size. If you've watched videos before with me, you know that's what I like. So I took this pattern and I created one the same as a regular card, A2 size card. So I'll show you this one, and then I'm going to share the measurements with you in case you'd like to make a regular full-size card. So this one is obviously for Easter. I gave my little bunny a bow, added some sequins. For this one, I just used Designer Series paper on the front. And then here is my inside with my happy little chick and my little messages. So bright and cheery. Now, for this card, as I said, I will share the measurements with you. And they are... The concept is similar to what I just showed you to make. The only difference is the size of your cardstock. So your card base is 8.5 by 5.5, and you scored on the long side at 4.25. The inside is 8 by 5. Your scoring measurements do not change. 2, 4, and 6 is where you score that. And then your front DSP or cardstock, whatever you're decorating the front of your card with, will be 5.25 by 4. So not that much of a change, but if you like the difference in size, there you go. And so one more sample to show you. This is with our new Waves of Inspiration suite. So I used the stamps and the die cut here. I glued the designer series paper and then I ran it through the embossing folder, so I have kind of a double effect there. Added some rhinestones, and then here is the inside. I used a darker piece of cardstock, layered it, which that was the trickiest thing to do, and added some designer series paper. So this would be a really pretty piece for someone to put on their desk, and rather than have a panel here to write, I could always write on the back of the card if I wanted. So lots of different designs, and you have the 2 shape options to choose from. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the tunnel card. If you have not already, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. You can click the notification bell and be notified each time I post a new video here on the page, which is typically twice a week. You can also find me over on Facebook as The Faithful Stamper. I talk a lot more about Stampin' Up! Specials, different contests, and challenges that I might be running there on the Facebook page. So I'd love to have you over there as well. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.